You come home, your bag drops to the floor, your coat lands on the chair, your phone on the couch, and suddenly the room feels full, not just with things, but with thoughts. You tell yourself, I'll clean up later. But later turns into days, and your head feels just as messy as your desk. It's not because you're disorganized. Your brain avoids clutter, but it also creates it when you're overwhelmed. In the next few minutes, you'll understand why just 5 minutes of tidying up can calm your nervous system, and how that small act can help you organize not only your space, but also your life. Have you ever wondered why a messy room feels so exhausting? Most people think cleaning up is just a chore, another task on the to-do list, like brushing your teeth or doing taxes. But in reality, it's something deeper, a reflection of your inner state. When your space is messy, your brain constantly sends micro signals. Every open drawer, every cable, every glass silently reminds you of unfinished business. That drains your energy. Order in your environment doesn't just create space on your shelf, it also creates space in your prefrontal cortex, where focus, self-control, and emotional stability are born. So your room isn't just a place you have to clean. It's a mirror where you learn how to regulate yourself. Sometimes you wake up and feel tired before the day even begins. You look around, books, clothes, cables, cups, all small reminders of things you meant to do someday. That's no coincidence. Every object in your visual field activates your working memory, a tiny stream of stimuli that drains energy without you realizing it. Neuropsychologists call this cognitive clutter. Your brain can no longer prioritize when everything around you is screaming for attention. Clutter is like background noise. You don't hear it, but it wears you out. Imagine your brain as a desk. When it's covered with stuff, there's no room left to think clearly. Try this today. Spend just 5 minutes clearing one surface: your nightstand, your desk, your kitchen counter. Observe what happens. You won't just tidy the space, you'll tidy your thoughts, because your brain responds instantly. Fewer stimuli, more calm, noticeably more control. And that's exactly where mental clarity begins. In the next chapter, you'll see why these small actions are so powerful and what they have to do with dopamine. We live in a world that constantly overstimulates your brain. News, notifications, to-do lists. Your dopamine system becomes like a slot machine, always chasing the next little hit. But the more stimuli you get, the less real reward you feel. The result? Mental exhaustion, lack of focus, and a vague sense of dissatisfaction. Neuroscientists show that tidying up acts like a natural reset. When you clean, you give your brain a simple, manageable task, an action with a clear cause and a visible effect. That moment when you put something away and instantly see a difference releases dopamine in a controlled way. Not chaotically like when you're scrolling, but soothingly. Your nervous system registers. I have influence. I'm not a victim. I'm a creator. Imagine you're not dusting your shelf, but resetting your reward system. Make it simple. Choose one corner and put away 5 items consciously. No music, no distractions. Feel how calm returns. Because every time you create order, you train your brain to crave clarity instead of chaos. In the next chapter, you will discover why this effect is not only chemical, but also emotionally healing, especially when you often feel overwhelmed inside. Many people think cleaning is a sign of control. In truth, it's an act of self-care. Clutter often appears when you're internally overwhelmed, not because you're lazy, but because your brain activates protection mechanisms. When you feel empty, your prefrontal cortex lacks the energy to make decisions, so it postpones them. Later. But that later turns into a cycle of guilt and shame. The more chaos you see, the less capable you feel of ending it. And so the inner weight grows. Imagine that every object on the floor is an unfinished feeling. When you pick it up, you also pick up a piece of yourself. Turn it into a ritual. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Tidy up silently. No music, no goal. Just with the intention, I'm taking care of myself. After those minutes, you won't just feel more order, you'll feel more dignity because you're taking yourself seriously again. And that's where healing begins, not through perfection, but through presence. In the next chapter, we'll see how to integrate this practice into your daily life without it becoming another obligation. Many people believe change requires discipline, but the brain doesn't love discipline. It loves repetition. When you tidy up for just 5 minutes every day, you train your nervous system to find safety in small, consistent actions. These short, repeated moments create new neural connections between action and calm. Neuroscientists call this habitual safety. Your body learns that order equals relaxation. From a neuropsychological point of view, consistency doesn't come from willpower. It comes from rituals with a low entry barrier. That's why 5 minutes work better than 5 hours. Imagine watering a plant every day, not because you have to, but because you want to see it grow. That's how you nurture yourself too. Keep it simple. Pick a fixed time, for example, right after breakfast, and start the timer. No perfection, no end goal, just presence. After a few days, your brain will automatically associate the feeling of order with a sense of calm. And that's self-regulation in its simplest form. If this idea inspires you, let me know, and subscribe to Mastering Life so you won't miss the next insight. In the next chapter, we'll look at what happens when order stops being external and starts becoming internal. At some point, you realize you're no longer tidying the room, you're tidying yourself, because external order is only the beginning. What truly matters is the silence that remains afterward. When you learn to put things away consciously, you train the same neural networks that allow you to let go of thoughts. The hippocampus, the center for memory and orientation, loves structure. When it recognizes that your environment is clear, it reduces the release of stress hormones. Suddenly, you breathe deeper, think clearer, react calmer. Your room becomes a reflection of your mind. An organized space is not a sign of perfection, it's a sign of peace. Try this experiment. Before going to bed, return just one item to its place, deliberately, slowly, gratefully. This small gesture tells your brain, the day is complete, you're safe. And that's how order begins to shift from something you can see to something you can feel. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to use this new clarity to transform other areas of your life, not through pressure, but through awareness. The truth is, big changes never start big. They begin quietly, with one small decision you repeat every day. When you learn to tidy up for 5 minutes, you're learning far more than organization. You're learning to take responsibility for your energy, your time, and your attention. In neuroscience, this is called self-efficacy, the feeling of being effective. It's one of the strongest predictors of mental health, because every time you act instead of overthink, you strengthen your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that pulls you out of autopilot. Imagine you're not putting things away. You're putting doubts away. You're creating space where something new can grow. Make it tangible. Tomorrow morning, when you make your bed, don't see it as a task. See it as a signal, a symbol that you're starting to live with presence. Because order isn't a goal, it's a beginning. The moment you start to feel yourself again. In the next part, I'll show you the 2-minute plan you can start with today. even if you currently feel completely overwhelmed. If you only have 2 minutes today, start here. Look around your room without judgment. Don't see the chaos, see the energy that's stuck. Take a deep breath. Your goal isn't to change everything, just to choose one spot. Pick a tiny area, a shelf, your desk, your nightstand. Imagine that by bringing order there, you're opening a window in your mind. Tidy for exactly 2 minutes. No music, no distractions. End consciously. When the timer rings, pause for a moment. Feel the calm that's there. Say to yourself, I have influence. These 2 minutes change more than you think because they don't just move objects, they shift habits. And your brain will remember this feeling of clarity, making it easier to return to it tomorrow. In the end, it's not about cleanliness, it's about awareness, about the moment you realize every small action is a conversation between you and your life. When you create order, you quietly tell yourself, I am worthy of living in clarity. Maybe change doesn't start with big decisions, but with the quiet sound of a room put back in order. What does order mean to you? Obligation or peace? Share it in the comments. Maybe someone will see themselves in your words. If this video touched you, subscribe to Mastering Life for more reflections that guide you back to yourself. And in the next video, I'll show you why true strength doesn't come from control, but from trust.